So I just lost my corporate job. I thought today was going to be a normal day in the office, obviously. I hopped on the tube and got to work pretty early, so by the time I got there, the commuter rush hadn't really taken over the city just yet, so it was actually a pretty peaceful journey in by London standards anyway. And I had a bunch of client calls lined up for the day, but I was just going into the workday kind of just like, show up, do my thing, get on with the rest. No stress, boss it, right? So we had our usual business development meeting in the morning, which includes our managing director and our CEO. And that ended pretty quickly because I suppose we didn't have much new business to be talking about. And then I saw a Teams message from our MD asking for a full team meeting, like stat pronto. So then I was like, okay, cool, I wonder what the tea is. And then our CEO comes out and asks my manager and I to come into a meeting room with him. And we're the only ones from our team in the office today. Everybody else is working from home. So then we follow him into the meeting room. He goes ahead and dials in the rest of the team. And then he's got his head in his hands. He's like rubbing his temple, pinching his nose, scrunching his eyes. I'm thinking, God, what's up with him? Bro looks stressed. And everybody looks confused. And then he goes and says, I've got something to share with you all, which is quite personal and affects the business too. And I'm thinking, oh my God, who's dying? This is really bad. My heart goes out. And then he drops a bomb that our whole team is being let go. We're all getting made redundant. And our entire division will cease to exist and will cease all operations following a winding down process. Insert some more HR vetted jargon of, consultation process and the proposal and whatever else. I can hardly remember the rest of it because I think I think my innie took over. I think my outie thought she was there. And my innie was like, don't worry, I've got this. And then I just tuned out. So we're all just in shock. You could hear a pin drop, okay? We were all just too stunned to speak. And then he asked us if we have any questions. And everybody's just shaking their heads. I was like, no, none from me. And then he leaves. And then my manager and I just look at each other like, what the hell? What just happened? So then we both go down to the basement for a coffee and a yap. And then she's telling me to prioritise myself, blah, blah, blah. That, we'll all be fine in the end. And telling me about recruiters that she's going to put me in touch with, etc. And it just feels surreal. First of all, it was so weird talking about seeking other job opportunities so openly with my manager. It felt illegal, especially because we were in our office building, but that's when it was starting to set in that this is our reality now. And honestly, at the time and now, I'm actually happy that it happened. I felt a lot worse for my colleagues because they have families to provide for. They have children and mortgages and whatnot, whereas I'm kind of just young and free, Sure, I've got rent, but if worse really comes to worse, I can just move back in with my parents and start again. Obviously wouldn't be ideal, but it's really not the worst thing that could happen. So glad I don't have any dependents. But, right now I actually feel like I truly have the freedom to explore all of the paths that are available to me and use use the company's time to do it. Because if nothing else, this has been just a cold, hard life lesson. And only reaffirmed what I knew, which was that it's never worth giving your all to these companies and sacrificing your well-being, your time and your peace of mind just to please them and meet their objectives, because ultimately, these are corporations, these are their own entities and they'll always prioritise themselves, and so you should prioritise yourself. And I think that was something that pushed me to leave my last company, and do you know what? It's turned out to be the springboard that I'm jumping from for this next chapter in my career. So, yeah, I feel like sometimes the universe has a weird way of conspiring in your favour. Having received that news, I just feel like I've had a proper kick up the arse. when it comes to looking elsewhere and, fully pursuing other avenues and other career opportunities that I do think would genuinely be better suited to my interests, my qualifications and my capabilities, instead of just staying stuck on the same industry conveyor belt and just getting, moved on to the next role and, getting progressed to that role. And I'm just kind of like, I don't even want to be progressed at this point. I don't want to become the senior version of what I'm doing. I'd actually much rather just be in a completely different spot and doing completely different things with my working life. So it's actually provided me a really good out. And in a way, I'm really grateful for it. And it's a lesson that I feel like I needed to be faced with. A situation that was, of course, forced upon me, but I think it ultimately serves to benefit me. And I'm grateful that I'm in a position where I can be grateful for this. And I'm actually excited and looking forward to what might be waiting for me when it comes to networking and exploring other opportunities. And actually, more to that point, I really do believe that I am better off having been made redundant than where I was previously, because I was already looking for other jobs, except when I was still gainfully employed. I would work my full workday and then dedicate my evenings to the job search, the application process, logging my guts for a CV and a cover letter that would not get a response or just get straight up rejected. Whereas now I can use my colleagues, we're helping each other here because we're all without jobs, or we will be without jobs, and use them as resources. They've offered to help already when it comes to lining myself and my other more junior colleagues up for our future roles and setting us up for our careers as best as they can. So the difference is that I have less pressure on the work that I'm doing right now because it's all winding down. I know that there's an end date for this. I'm not going to be here forever, and you know what? I've got a perfect out. In fact, they're ushering me out the door. So there's that, and also the fact that I can talk so openly about looking at other opportunities and use the company's time to do that and attend interviews and, practice with my colleagues, like when they have a free moment, that sort of thing. I have so much more at my disposal now when it comes to my job search, considering I wanted to leave anyway and change directions and have a proper pivot. So I am actually better off now because, like yesterday, I can sit in the office and be scrolling LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn if I have a choice because that place is cursed, but, I can search for jobs and, scroll on findaphd.com or whatever while just sat in the office, and like who's gonna say anything to me, on my company laptop, using company property, as I should, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel just ultra free. I think it's good that I have this pressure on me because, there is a time limit for this, because it's my entire division going. It's not a sort of one and done, getting shoved out the door thing. We have to deliver on certain projects and fulfill certain commitments, contractual commitments to clients, etc. But apart from that, I have enough time to kind of explore my options, and I have the pressure of knowing that I need to get that sorted sooner rather than later. Otherwise, young Timothy's gonna have to pack her bags and get the train home. So, yeah. It's a strange position to be in, but I'm so grateful that this has come when it has. Selfishly, of course. But, we're going to make it through, and we've got loads of bank holidays lined up anyway. So, if I was to get made redundant at any point in the year, this is probably the best time for it, minus all that stuff about bonuses. But, YouTube can give me my bonus. But, yeah, that's it, really. So, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. I will say though, just to bring this all back down to planet Earth as we know it, I've only been at my company for like 7 months, so I'm actually not entitled to statutory redundancy pay. So I don't get a package when I leave. As far as I know, I literally leave with pay from my unused holiday, a reference and a pat on the back, obviously including whatever my month's salary, wages, whatever. So is it shameless to say that that's why I started my YouTube channel? Well, anyways, the overall moral of the story, I'd say, is hashtag blessing in disguise. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see on my channel, and I will see you again soon. Bye!